Canada's immigration system has reached a breaking point. According to the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association, years of backlogs and a lack of a national strategy could result in long-term consequences. This all comes as Ottawa has started its plan to tighten our immigration rules and reduce residents over the coming years. We're joined this morning by Rick Lamanna. He's a partner at Fregeman Law and a board member of the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association. Good morning.
Good morning, Emery.
Just to set this up for people, we have about half the applications in backlog, and the count of that backlog is at 1 million. How did we get to this point?
Pretty layered question. You go back to COVID. I think in more recent times, one of the issues really has been the cutback in staffing. So over a year ago, IRCC decided that it was going to reduce staffing levels to pre-COVID numbers. The problem with that is that the intake is not at pre-COVID levels.
Right.
And so, there's only so much you can do with so many people. I think that's a big part of it.
We know the government has announced its plans to reduce Canada's non-permanent residents, including international students, by less than 5%. That mark is supposed to be by 2027. So this is part of addressing housing and infrastructure issues. At least that's what they said. Yet our colleagues in universities are financially struggling because of lack of tuition from international students. We're now competing for talent in AI and in research. So what policies need to shift to ensure that we can attract international talent, but also have what they need when they get here, including healthcare and housing?
Well, I think where we are is entirely predictable. And I say that because if for over a decade, you open the floodgates and you don't really have any sense of where these students are going and what programs they're graduating in, right? You're left with a huge number of students that now their pathway's blocked. So what do? The government decided it was going to stop those floodgates, close the funnel, and like you said, now we're in a situation where there are a lot of schools in big financial trouble. And so it's going to take a few years to work this out. It's interesting to note that the very day after they announced the levels plan back in late 2025, the very next day they announced for master's and doctoral students, Canada's open for business. We're going to expedite your application. We're going to expedite the application for your spouse if you have one. So the issue is a lot of mixed messaging. And regardless of the target, I'm not even sure if they're going to meet it, because I think what we're saying to international students abroad is, come and you might be able to stay, but that's not a guarantee. And so they may be looking elsewhere.
Last fall, Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada released the number of applications that it was wading through. And, as we mentioned, there were 2 million applications, but just over 1 million are in backlog. So the federal government says AI technology is going to help clear this. But just how effective is the system we have? Where does this leave people who are kept waiting? And how long does it take to go through 1 million applications?
A long time.
Like how many years could those people who are in the system be waiting? 5 years, 10 years?
It depends on what type of program you're applying for. But for example, take a spousal sponsorship. Those have increased by about 200%. Parents, grandparents, those have increased by about 400%. The issue is, will the government even process them all? Or will it just sort of cancel applications? Will it cancel entire programs? They've given themselves that authority, which feeds into the predictability aspect. We need to have a predictable system. This is what investors want. This is what businesses want. This is what individuals need in order to have faith in our immigration system. And to your point, over 1 million applications in backlog, and you referenced AI technologies. At this point, it's not solving the problem. If anything, it's resulting in some very wonky decision-making at best, suspicious at worst. So they're not there yet on the tech front.
Canada, we know, is focused on nation-building projects, and in order to meet those, we need workers. So how prepared are we for this sudden need in skilled labor?
Well, if you just go based on the numbers the government has proposed, we're not prepared. In fact, I made this comment some time ago that it's interesting to me that we're reducing these numbers at the exact same time that the same federal government is announcing some much-needed nation-building projects. And who's gonna build them?
Well, Rick, their argument on that is that they want those jobs to go to citizens who are already here in the country. What would your response to that be?
We don't have them. We don't have enough of those people. Sure, we have a very intelligent, educated, hardworking workforce. We just don't have the numbers. And when you're talking about some of these projects that they're announcing, these are massive, massive projects. So it's not a matter of Canadians not being good enough or not being willing to take the work. It's a matter of we just need more people to do them.
Rick Lamanna, partner at Fregman Law and board member of the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association. Good to have you as part of this discussion. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too.